Elon Musk gave a hilarious interview to the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, which I'll show you in just a moment. I can't even believe that they aired it. Maybe it was live and somebody just recorded it, but Elon was simulcasting it over Twitter Spaces, which is Twitter's sort of group conferencing call app, so we would have got audio of it regardless. But we do have the video. It all started when Elon decided to add the government-funded tag, to be more accurate, to the accounts of NPR, National Public Radio, because, well, it is government funded. And they got very upset about that. They quit Twitter in protest. That's how upset they are. Because that's the same tag that Twitter added to the accounts from Russia government-affiliated media outlets last year under the previous ownership, like this RT account, which clearly shows that it is Russia state-affiliated media. So NPR got upset that they're now in the same category of government-funded, state-run media. NPR's own website says that federal funding is essential to public radio's service to the American public, and its continuation is critical for both stations and program producers, including NPR. They say because of the label, NPR is quitting Twitter across all our 50-plus accounts. Our executives say the government-funded media label calls into question our editorial independence and undermines our credibility. What credibility? Some wonder if this will cause a chain reaction among news organizations. Oh no, what would we do if CNN and the Washington Post were to quit Twitter too? So Elon added the same tag to the account for the BBC because, well, it is government funded and government run. So a self-proclaimed reporter showed up to Twitter headquarters. I'm not sure if Elon actually invited him, but he sat down with him for an interview to talk about all things Twitter. Of course, the clown expressed concerns for tweets that he hates, also known as hate speech.
Content you don't like or hateful? What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
You mean facts about crime in a certain demographic that makes up 13% of the U.S. population but is responsible for 50% of it? Or biological realities about the differences between men and women?
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm
just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content. And I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should?
I think he means stating facts, like all women should know how to cook.
That's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use. Honestly, I
don't. You can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore. Because I just don't particularly like it.
But you said
a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at
hang on a second.
following.
You said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example. Not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and
then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen for you hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying
I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet, and yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's false.
No, what I claimed...
You just lied.
What I claimed was there are many organizations that say that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my...
So first he saw it in his own feed with his own eyes, but then he shifts gears and claims that he just heard from other people that it's supposedly everywhere.
Give
me one example.
I mean, right, and
literally
if you look at something
one.
like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK, they will say that. So
look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I already said, I don't use that feed. But
then how would you know that?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know there's hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We only have a certain amount of time.
Let's change the subject. As hilarious as that was, Elon sadly soon bent over to the BBC and changed the label from government-funded to publicly funded media. But things are going to get very interesting on Twitter next week because Elon says that he is going to remove all of the verified check marks from all of the legacy verified accounts who aren't paying $8 a month for his new Twitter Blue pay-per-verification service. And after the New York Times announced that they would not be paying for the verification checkmark, Elon decided to remove theirs early. Elon Musk's Twitter strips New York Times of verified checkmark out of spite? Retaliation? Yes. And countless celebrities have announced that they're not going to be paying $8 a month for a verified checkmark to Elon Musk either, but you know that they will. Oh, they will. Now, if Elon were to ask me for an example of hate speech on Twitter, I would direct him to follow the account BIPOC Doing Racism and Anti-Whitewatch. Both document the unbelievable amount of anti-whiteism, the hate speech and hatred and violent threats made against white people by black people, and I guess a couple Latinos. They also curate videos showing a certain demographic doing what's commonplace in their culture. Elon Musk is far from perfect, however. This is not a black and white situation. He has not restored free speech on the internet. There's still a lot of major accounts that just mysteriously remain banned, and a lot of conservatives, the Conservative Inc., the brand name Republicans, seem to have just forgotten all about it because they don't want to upset Elon by asking why Alex Jones hasn't been restored, why Gavin McInnes hasn't been restored, why Steve Bannon hasn't been restored. Twitter is fact-checking Joe Biden, the supposed president of the United States, however, and Kamala Harris, which is hilarious. Like this old tweet when she was spreading fake news about Jussie Smollett. There's a feature called Community Notes, which is basically a crowdsourced fact check, and so now that has been unleashed on even the highest profile Democrats. Under her complete nonsense tweet about the hoax, it now says that this is completely false. It was not a modern day lynching. Instead, it was an actor who staged an attack on himself because he was unhappy with his salary. The White House even deleted a tweet because they were so humiliated because it got fact checked after they posted fake news. And since the government didn't post President Trump's mugshot or even take one because they knew that people like me would put it on t-shirts, I decided to make a Trump mugshot political prisoner t-shirt anyway. Order yours from markdice.com or click the link in the description below. Like all of my designs, it's available in a t-shirt, long sleeve, and a hoodie, and a whole bunch of different colors as well. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.